We are back, and we decided to go on location to talk about Wisconsin, because W is for Wendy and Wisconsin,
Hey.
and Waukesha. We're on location in Lake Tahoe, Nevada, to talk about Wisconsin
right.
ghost stories.
Yes, perfect
And I
location for it.
do have a special guest here, Wendy, W with a Wendy,
Hi.
who was the lead or one of the tour guides of the W is for Waukesha ghost stories.
That's true.
And that is Waukesha. Where is Waukesha for people that don't know?
Waukesha is just outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, just to the west of Milwaukee. So
Okay.
not too far.
And it's a small town that has enough of a history to support its own ghost tour.
Yeah, it has a very interesting history, and the downtown is central enough that you can walk. It's about a 1.5 mile walk that we do, and plenty of stories along the way. So
All right.
neat places there.
I guess we can just jump in. What's what makes Waukesha such a haunted place?
Oh, well, there's a lot of different reasons that we believe it has
Yeah.
hauntings. And but one of the big reasons is that Waukesha has natural springs,
Mm-hmm.
which were believed to have magical healing powers. And so we all
Yeah.
of us paranormal goofs know that water brings with it. Often, spirits like to hang around where water is, and that's not just water, but yeah, looking out for Tahoe Tessie out there. And it wasn't just water, but it was water that people came to bathe in, to drink, because they actually believed, there were stories of miracles of people being healed.
Now, around what time period are we talking about here?
That would have been around the 1860s.
Okay.
So the modern history of Waukesha is not that old, but
Sure.
but Waukesha itself has a ton of Native American history, and there's, in fact, right downtown there are Native American burial mounds in one of the main parks. So there's just so much human history in that area.
Yeah. I glossed over it too quickly. I mean, we are in Tahoe, Nevada. We are, we can see the California state line from where we're sitting right now. Just a couple hundred yards off
Right
in that
over
direction.
there.
And this, I've never been to Lake Tahoe before. It's such an incredible place. And one of the insane facts is that this lake that is, 1,600 feet deep, contains enough water in it to cover the entire state of California with 14 inches of water. It's insane. And there are the legends of Tahoe Tessie, the Loch Ness Monster type of creature.
Keep your eyes
No, we should
see
run.
a sea serpent pop up.
Yeah. And there have been a lot of different UFO tales as well. One of them was the most obvious hoax I've ever seen, which just came last year, but somehow people are into it.
They're running with it.
But there have been sightings of odd lights in the sky dating back pretty far, it seems.
Yeah.
Which is always something that makes things exciting and fun. And you got a big place like this, it's got to be really dark at night.
Perfect
so you
for
can really
watching
see
the skies.
Yeah, exactly.
Up in the mountains, you have such a big area of no light behind us.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, the mountains. It's a big ski resort type place, but there's lots of forest. So I'd imagine there must be some Bigfoot sightings in the area as well. I haven't looked into that yet. But
well, we're gonna take a hike later, so we'll keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah, exactly. Keep up with whatsyourghoststory.com and the Facebook and the Instagram, because we'll be posting. We've already started posting from this area, and near this area is another W, which is the Washoe Club.
That's right.
Which is, there would be perhaps no ghost adventures without the Washoe Club, since that's where they went when Zach was like 19 or something like that and did his documentary. That's where he went. And that's where the TV show Ghost Adventures came from.
And they've been back there 3 times, I think?
I think 3 times, yeah. And worth it. The whole town of Virginia City, which is about an hour from here, is an old mining town full of haunted locations. So, we still have to go through our pictures to see if we caught anything. But we'll be posting a lot. So whatsyourghoststory.com for that one. Anything else about Waukesha that you want to touch on before we move on?
I guess I could share one of my favorite odd stories from Waukesha. And it's kind of touches on possible haunting and or maybe UFO. I don't know. Okay. But very paranormal thing that's happened there on there's a bridge in Waukesha that is supposed to be haunted. And the belief is in the 1920s that there was a car that spun out, and one of the passengers was ejected from the car and believed to have fallen into the passing rail car and disappeared and was not found for a long time afterwards. But people think that might be the cause of the haunting. But one of the instances that occurred there is, well, people see like a green light or like a mist, kind of like a wispy mist. And back in the 80s, there was a newspaper article about a guy who was a mechanic who was driving home, and he said that this green light, he kind of saw it floating in, and it about the size of like a stop sign, kind of like an orb shape, and it attached itself to his car, spun the car out, and the engine died and everything, and then the light disappeared, and his car just started right back up, and he went on his way. So it's just kind of I like that one because there's so much physical detail to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what the cause of it is, no one knows. But it was such a phenomenon that there used to be like watching parties of kids that would go down to under the bridge and watch, and try to look for ghosts and a lot of other reports.
So they would see it regularly, somewhat regularly?
Well, there were, the green wispy light was reported by more than one person. And then there were also sightings of like disembodied faces and
floating faces.
Yeah, nice. You never know if that's just imagination or what it is, but
sure,
it's a fun ghost story, and it's intriguing that it all happens in that same location, so it makes you wonder.
Absolutely. And so we live in the state capital of Madison, which is full of great locations. And actually,
state of Wisconsin, by the way, not Nevada.
Yes. And we should mention AmericanGhostWalks.com is where you could find more about the Waukesha Ghost Tour and about the 3, I think, Madison Ghost Tours that are going on.
Yeah, that's right.
A city, a campus tour, and there might be another version of the city tour, State Street Tour, or something like that. But I've taken one of the 3 tours, so I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah. And I've been on 2 of them, and they're excellent, and especially the Capitol Square one. You can get a lot of fun history about Madison.
Sure, that's cool. But there are spooky history, the best kind of history. The history worth studying. 2 of my favorite places in Madison that are haunted locations, which I won't get into a lot because there's going to be links in the description. I did a video on one already, and I've done a write-up on another one, so those links will be in the description. But it's the Wonder Bar.
Another W.
Another W. W's for Wonder Bar. I thought W might be a tough one, but no, it's not. Especially when it's for What's Your Ghost Story also.
Weird.
Yeah. Weird and wonderful. But the Wonder Bar opened in 1929 by Eddie Toohey, and he was one of the terrible Toohey brothers, except he was probably the least terrible of them, of this family of rum runners and booze barons during the Prohibition era. He was the only one that was not really part of the Chicago Mafia. 2 of his brothers were killed by Capone's gang when the beer wars broke out. They were selling to Capone, and eventually Capone just wanted their operation, cut out the middleman, just be the middleman too. So anyway, Eddie went up to Madison and opened up this bar, this tavern, and I'm sure he didn't keep his nose completely clean. One of his brothers really liked installing gambling machines in different bars and taverns, and I don't know if the Wonder Bar in Madison is one such place, but it would stand to reason it's possible.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was maybe used as a safe house in a way. Like if his brothers or friends needed to lay low for a little bit, get out of Chicago, that would be a safe place to do so. And there are rumors, but none of them are true. There's urban legends, I should say, of shootouts and stuff up there, but that never happened. It's accepted, and I don't know how you can really prove this, but it's really accepted that Dillinger did stay here from time to time if he was traveling around between robberies. The place is haunted. I guess we don't know why, but of course we associate it with the Mafia. So were there hits, that went down there? We don't know at all, actually. We have no idea. But one of the rumors is that I think it was an upstairs fireplace that a body was interred there.
Yeah. That's what everybody says.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe the bones are still in the wall up there.
And it's a steakhouse now, so the thought of bodies being scattered about the place is kind of
appetizing.
Yeah.
But we went there not too long ago and talked to bar staff, wait staff, and they said, yeah, just absolutely. It's an actively haunted place. Objects moving on their own. things rattling just on a shelf, one object out of a whole bunch just shaking like crazy. They seem very open to talking about their haunted history. They're like the right level of proud of it. You know, like there's some places in Wisconsin that we're not going to put on this video because they're using it so much of a marketing ploy that it's hard to buy into it that, oh yeah, it's definitely a haunted place, but because their business is so tied to it. Wonder Bar's not like that. I don't think they're...
No, they don't really use it to promote the business.
No, but if you happen to go there and belly up to the bar, they're okay to talk about it.
Yeah, they don't deny it like other places, you know.
Yeah.
The only spirits here is the spirit of good hospitality.
There we go. Like, the basement does have some tunnels. You know, you can't go deep into the tunnel, so we don't really know where they go. Just visually looking at it, there are train lines near there, so I could see, you know, if they were unloading shipments from a train, that would be a good place. There's a body of water nearby, but it's too far to be underground. I think it's like 900 yards.
That'd be a pretty long tunnel.
So anyway, there's more work, more investigation, both paranormal and archaeological, that we would love to do at this place. And the other place that I really love is Sanatorium Hill, which was in operation not as long ago as you think. It feels like tuberculosis must have been in the distant past, but this place was in operation from 1930 to 1966, not all that long ago. And it also shows you how far we've come medically speaking, because it wasn't that long ago that people were in iron lungs and people were just sitting out on chairs like this thinking that the sun will cure their tuberculosis, which of course was not the case. So it's a place that had a lot of death. And there are Native American legends about it that are not verified at this point, the property itself, that is. But Madison is rife with mounds, so it's not beyond reason that there's some connection to this space. But one of the great things about this location, which again, there's a video at the bottom that really goes into detail, but it's currently owned by, I think it's the Parks Department of Wisconsin, so it's public land. You can be there, you're allowed to be on this space during daylight hours, and the hauntings are not actually within the sanatorium building, but on the grounds themselves. So, and there's hiking trails that are
so cool,
dug through the woods, so you could definitely check this place out, because people see mists, they feel cold spots, people talk about hot spots as well, apparitions are seen, voices are heard, and of course the best one is people get their hair pulled by some unseen hands. So that's one to check out. I wanted to really quickly mention Highway 12 because you guys have a little connection to a vanishing hitchhiker.
That's right, yes.
So if you could tell that story, because I think it's so great. Yeah.
There was just one of the times that my band Sunspot was driving back from a show. I don't remember if it was in the Twin Cities or Eau Claire, somewhere west. And we were on Highway 12, and it was a terrible storm, tons of rain, lightning, thunder, and we were driving along, or I was driving, and my bandmate's wife was in the passenger seat next to me, and like a lightning flashed, and we saw this guy on the side of the road that just looked really spooky. I remember him having a hat and like big goggly kind of glasses and just kind of walking alongside the road as if it was not raining out. And I wasn't even sure if I had seen it, you know, and so I confirmed with her, and I was like, did you? And she's like, yeah, that was weird. Little did we know that there's a legend of a phantom hitchhiker. Yeah. And so maybe that was him. I didn't notice if he was trying to thumb a ride,
but a very rural area. So I mean, there's no place he could have been easily walking to or from. It's middle of nowhere. It is it's a fast street. So I don't want to say busy because it's not super occupied, but it is a, 60 mile an hour.
Not a good place to take a stroll by any means.
Yeah, and it feels like a residual haunting because he didn't seem to be aware of the current environment.
He was not fazed by the rain and thunder and lightning or
time of day, anything.
Yeah, it was really late too. It would have been 3-4 in the morning or something.
And that's just amazing that you guys didn't know about the stories of a phantom hitchhiker seen right there until way later.
Years later.
Yeah, I love that. And so I just want to quickly go through a couple of others that I found on the WTMJ website. I did a lot of searching for top haunted places in Wisconsin, and these handful just seem to be on all of them, but I'll credit WTMJ since that's where the text will be coming from. Summer Wind Mansion in Land O'Lakes. This is very northern Wisconsin, so not... a place is always better when it's in the middle of nowhere. But this is it was a fishing lodge, turned home by former U.S. Secretary of Commerce Robert Lamont in 1916. After firing 2 shots at an intruder, he discovered that there was no one there. And he and his family left that night. The next family that moved into the mansion in the 70s, only to have the husband had a nervous breakdown and the wife attempted suicide.
Oh my gosh.
The mansion has since mostly been destroyed from a fire in 1988. So now it's ruins up there in the Land O'Lakes wilderness. But people claim that it's a very active spot. This place is usually the battle for the most haunted place in Wisconsin usually comes down between this location and the Pfister Hotel in downtown Milwaukee.
Yeah. It's a fancy hotel in downtown Milwaukee, and it's been there for a long time. It's got the beautiful, intricate detail, that you find in the old classic hotels.
Absolutely.
And it's famous for hosting sports teams that come into town to play.
Sure, the visiting teams. Yeah.
Perhaps even more famous for those sports teams to report stories of crazy haunting.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about doors rattling, like people appearing in the room,
lights going on and off,
all sorts of the kind of poltergeisty type activity.
And a lot of times the baseball players or whatever, they think their teammates are pranking them. So because it's not a question of like, did that door just rattle? It's like, oh, come on Joey, quit slamming the door on me. It's not funny.
And I think it was in the news not too long ago, a baseball player had a weird experience there, and he was Instagramming as it was happening.
Right.
And but I would also recommend the book Field of Screams, which is this tremendous book by Dan Gordon about ghost stories related to baseball, and he spends a lot of time. I think it was actually the first chapters about the Pfister Hotel in that book. He really goes into detail on a lot of claims.
And we interviewed him on See You on the Other Side.
See You on the Other Side podcast. Yeah, a while back now. The White Elk Dam may not be cursed itself, but the surrounding area is. In 1974, the body of Mary Chalice was discovered at the dam. It was reported that she was hitchhiking from Minneapolis to Chicago before her killer picked her up and dumped her body at Elm Lake. The case has still not been solved. There are many strange occurrences, according to multiple reports. One such includes 2 fishermen who were at the dam, and one said, "There's a glowing white woman behind us." "I know," the other man replied, "but I'm not turning around."
Oh my God.
So yeah, this one, I don't even know exactly where this is, but we'll have to.
I'm not familiar with that one, so now I'm curious.
All right, maybe after we're done kayaking here, we'll check out that dam. Okay, the Siren Bridge in Siren, Wisconsin is home to a tragic tale. One Halloween, this one's creepy. I remember reading this a couple times and thinking, well, this has to be an urban legend, but then I kept finding it, including on news websites, so it must be a true thing. Or at least the story behind it is.
Yeah.
One Halloween, which is even better, a family was driving on County Highway B when the father lost control of the car and it fell into the swamp below, falling off of the bridge. The family was trapped inside. They all died in the car. Motorists driving by now hear a young girl crying coming through their car radios.
No, what?
Yes, including saying, "Mommy, help me, I can't get out."
Oh my God.
I'm getting the chills sitting out here.
That's horrible.
Yes.
But that's interesting way to communicate through the radio.
Exactly. Anytime, as we always talk about, one of the most easy ways for spirits to make their presence known is kind of manipulating electronic devices. And so to use the car radio is fantastic. Callan Road, or Witch Road as it's commonly known, this is in Ripon, Wisconsin, has a lot of lore surrounding it. Basically, it sounds like it's a creepy place. But people have seen flashes of light in the abandoned buildings. Supposedly used to be the house of a witch.
Oh, well, there's another W for you.
There you go. Maribel Caves Hotel, commonly known now as Hotel Hell. Because there's not much left of it. There was a fire in 1985. The place is closed down. It's ruins. But however, since then, there have been reports of apparitions, floating objects, strange lights. And people claim that this place is now used by people to practice witchcraft. So maybe that's why it's so darkly impacted now. Another good creepy place to check out. And finally, I'll talk about Dartford Cemetery in Green Lake. Home to many creepy sightings. One particular is a mausoleum on the south side of the cemetery where a little boy is buried. It's said that if you sit on the mausoleum, or if you even are around it, you'll be pushed off the mausoleum by some force. And actually, I saw this on a TV show, I think it was called My Ghost Story.
Really?
Where they covered this one.
That's one we could try.
Absolutely, yeah. Civil War soldiers have also been seen marching around the grounds. So yeah, a very Wisconsin is a fun haunted state.
And I'm intrigued because so many of those places, I mean, I've lived in Wisconsin my entire life, and I have yet to be at any of those, or many of those places.
Sure.
And I'm just kind of, I feel a little humbled because I thought I knew
there you go.
all the cool haunted places. And
Wisconsin is a huge state, like by landmass.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's really up there. And I didn't even mention La Crosse, Wisconsin, which I'll get into very briefly because you should just buy the documentary.
There you go.
The Hidden Truth, which is a documentary I directed and shot about a strange series of drownings that happened in the Mississippi River off the coast of La Crosse. Just really, the deaths were happening so frequently and regularly that twice the FBI investigated looking for a serial killer. They were not able to find any evidence of that, but the deaths are just so commonly happening that it doesn't make any sense. So it was the deputy coroner, Neil Sanders, who said the one thing we've never looked into is a possible paranormal influence. So he called up the Wisconsin Paranormal Investigators, and they called up me, and we went on this very interesting 2-year journey into bringing the paranormal methodologies into an active crime scene, and we found some bizarre things. And the place is just marred by historic tragedy, from the Battle of Bad Axe to riverboat fires, and the place is very negatively affected, and can a very negatively impacted area lead to tragedy today? That's what we look into. But thank you for watching this On Location from Tahoe, Nevada.
Talking about Wisconsin.
And we will be back. Just 3 letters left of this A to Z Paranormal Blog Challenge. So thank you all for watching so far, and thank you, Wendy, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. This is really fun.
And where should people find your excellent paranormal podcast?
Thank you so much.
Of course.
You can find it at othersidepodcast.com or in any podcast player, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, etc. It's just called See You on the Other Side.
All right. Thank you.